So, now, Job 24 again. I'm going to go into murder more to explain that it's premeditated. It's a willful sin. Adultery is a willful sin, and so is murder. Meaning hatred towards your brother is willful, and murdering your brother is also willful. It's not accidental. It's not. You can't hate someone by accident. You cannot hate someone by accident. Job 24, verse 14. Here's another form of murder. The murderer riseth with the light, killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief. Why? Because a thief sits down and thinks on how he can not get caught and what he can steal without getting caught. Once again, explain to you what? That murdering is also a willful and presumptuous or premeditated sin. So James is going into the laws that involve things being done willfully. Respect of persons, adultery, and murder or killing. Back to James 2. James 2 verse 11. For he that said, do not commit adultery, willful sin, said also, do not kill or do not murder. Don't be a murderer. Now if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. Meaning you're being partial. Okay? Meaning you say, okay, let me give you an example. A good example. Let's say, okay, you got your beard, you got your fringes, you keep the Passover, you keep the feast days, you got the fringes, you got the keep the dietary law, but you constantly speak bad against your Israelite sisters all the time. Oh, F the black woman, F the black bee, and all this other stuff. Or two-thirds all day long. All that other nonsense, irrelevant nonsense. You're being partial. Why? Because one, in this truth, we must focus on the righteous. Okay? Our focus is on teaching our people the commandments. Okay? Our focus is not hating our people who are already in ignorance. Because once upon a time, Israel, you were an ignorant nigger. So how can you hate someone that you used to be? Understand if you hate their deeds. If you hate their actions, that's one thing. But to hate them personally is completely wicked. Because you don't know them. And the way they are is how you used to be. Okay? How the same hatred you had for their actions is the same hatred that brothers that came into the truth before you had against your actions. So I can't hate my brother or sister for being ignorant because I was once the same way they are. That's why Paul said, remember in time past when you were Gentiles. Paul reminds the Israelites constantly when they were Gentiles. Why? Because that same mindset was on them too. They got puffed up in their wisdom. So puffed up that they began to hate their brothers and sisters. Okay, and Paul had to constantly remind them, listen, you were once Negroes and ignorant Hispanics and niggers yourself. Keep that in mind, Israel. When you hate your brothers and sisters, you're a murderer. And in Christ, when you keep all the laws and commandments, but you have hatred in your heart towards your brothers and sisters, you're being partial, therefore you're guilty of all. Meaning whatever laws you're keeping are null and void because you're willfully breaking that one. You're willfully offending at that one point. Therefore, the other laws you keep are irrelevant. You can't say, okay, I'm going to stop having sex with my best friend's wife, but I'm going to keep selling drugs. No, you're being partial. Therefore, you're guilty of the law entirely. You're guilty of the law in Christ. And that's what James is talking about. All right, Israel? So I hope that I've managed to give you a little edification on what James is speaking of. All right? Hope to see you again soon. Shalom.